soup, soup. Let's start the show.
Welcome to the Neverdaily podcast, episode 310. Log it.
I think
Load
you said
it.
that last time.
310?
Yeah.
I did? Oh,
Yeah.
311.
Oh,
Great band.
311.
Great band. This is our Halloween. Just kidding, Chase. It's Halloween. What am I doing? Chase has come dressed like a podcaster.
Yep.
No, this isn't our Halloween special. I was just joking. I thought I'd kick things off. I have generated an exciting list of new segments. And I wanted to kick off the very beginning here with the next segment. You know, we've had segments in the past on some shows where they've become podcasts, like Guestnicity was a segment on 911 calls podcast before, you know. And I don't know. I don't know if the, you know, one of these segments might birth a new show. This first, I wanted to just kick this off. I'm gonna go ahead and play the jingle. I'm never gonna do a segment that doesn't have a jingle. Like, that's just not gonna happen.
Marketing 101.
Yeah, there will be. Everything needs a jingle. My life is just a scaffold of jingles all day long.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing gets by me without being a jingle. Some people may remember that there was a Idaho politician that was campaigning and all of her signs were around town. And her name was Janice McGeechan. And so I started singing, "Everybody's preaching about Janice McGeechan." And then, like, and I have a Tourette's problem, I think, too, because once I get a jingle in my head, I'll sing it for 20 minutes straight.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's preaching about Janice McGeechan. Before you know it, my wife is sitting there in the car. She's like, "Everybody's preaching about Janice." And I'm like, "Ha ha." And she's like, "Dang it." And then before you know it, everyone's singing, "Everybody's preaching about Janice McGeechan." So I'm not saying I'm a great jingle writer, but all I have to do is go, "When the Lord," and you're welcome. I just crammed a new jingle in your head. I should be charging for jingles. I might start my own Patreon just for stupid jingles. Come up and just, what I'll do is I'll just wake up, and when I'm about to brush my teeth and ready to annoy my wife, I'll just hit record because there's bound to be a jingle that morning.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the jingle for the new segment, for one of the many segments. I listed the whole list off to Chase before the episode, and we're not going to do all the segments on this episode, but I've got two. I'm going to drop two new segments on this episode. Here's the first jingle. Get ready. Oh, yeah. Welcome to the segment, How Long Is It?
I don't know. Oh, it's about that long.
Welcome to the segment. Oh, sorry, I was pulling up my...
Yeah, you're pulling
you
something.
You can't say,
You were
"Welcome to
pulling
the
something.
segment, How Long Is It?" and then say, "Hang on, I'm pulling up my..." You can't. You got to be faster on that. Up to 720 feet long. Can you guess what it is?
I'm going to say the list of dead bodies around the Clintons.
Whoa. That would be, yeah. That's a good guess. But okay, I'll give you maybe it's because I didn't give you the average versus the longest.
Oh, okay.
720, but has been reported to be as long as 850 feet. Whale intestine. That's over 2 football fields in length.
Ew,
You could line up 70 parked school buses,
that's disgusting.
and you'd be 850 feet long. That's how long the blue whale's whale intestine is.
That's a lot of sausage.
Yeah. If you wrapped the intestines, if you laid them around a standard, like, track and field track, they'd cover half to 2/3 of a full lap.
That's almost a quarter of a mile.
That's crazy.
That's half of a quarter of a mile.
Okay, here's another one. This is extra interesting because there's a length plus another length that's short that makes it even more interesting. So the first length it's around 130 feet. But if you're going for total length, it's 130 feet plus another 5 feet. It'll make sense when I tell you.
The
because
world's
I already
largest
know the answer.
Allen wrench.
That's a good idea. You get a lot of torque off of that.
Yeah, you'd have to use a truck to turn it though.
I've had a couple bolts where I'm like, it needs that much torque. For sure. This is the length of the average cow small intestine.
Ooh. What's the extra 5 feet?
The large intestine.
Oh.
Isn't that weird? Like you have 130 feet of small intestine, and then the last 5 of it is large intestine. Or maybe it's the other way around. I don't know. It just depends on where the duodenum and the jejunum is connected, but, you know.
Mm-hmm. I know those words. Lots of words. Yep.
Neither here or there, really. 16 to 50 feet long. That seems like a big range.
Is that for humans?
What?
Is that for humans?
Oh, that's the length of Linnaeus longissimus, which is the bootlace worm. It's a worm. It's not even an intestine. 16 to 50 feet long with extreme claims up to 177.
Yikes.
But that the claim was made by a scientist who also ran around going, look a picture of my girlfriend. She's real. She's from Canada.
She goes to a different school, okay?
Yeah.
She's not from here.
So we're not all sure about the 177, but 16 to 50 feet. That's longer than a bowling lane. That on the low end, and on the high end, that's half a length of a football field. That's a worm. That's one worm.
That's a lot of. You can catch a lot of catfish with that.
You wonder if you're that worm and you're like just worming around, and all of a sudden you're like, oh gosh, look. And you think you like ran into another worm, but it's just part of you. Whoa, hey, oh, it's me.
It's like
you're like poke, and then you're like, hee.
It's like the game of Snake on the old phones. It's just constantly running into itself.
Yeah, exactly.
Can't get out of its own way, just like me.
Do you know what a gastropod is? Google it. I'm gonna ask you the question, and you tell me. You Google so fast you answer. What's a gastropod?
It's a type of invertebrate mollusk that includes snails, slugs, and sea slugs. And it is not a chamber in which you lock your friends and then fart into it. That's what comes to mind. But for those of you who are dumb, like me, it's actually snails. It's
the new Canadian government's suicide device. Listen to your favorite music while you unalive yourself in a little cocoon in the woods.
Poo-poo.
Da-na-na-na.
That needs a jingle.
That does. You're right. Gastropod. Theonicola dogielli. 4 feet 2 inches. That's big. It's longer than a surfboard.
There was, did I ever tell you about the time I accidentally stabbed a banana slug? I had a toolbox, and it was new, and I thought there was sometimes there's just like little bits of rubber randomly. It looked like hot glue.
The slug was new, or the toolbox?
The toolbox was new. It was in my garage.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, it looks like there's a chunk of like glue or rubber or something stuck in the handle.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, it's probably just something from manufacturing the mold or something. I don't know. So I grabbed a construction pencil that I had, and I tried to dig it out, and I stabbed into the thing, and all of a sudden this head comes out, and the little like eyes pop out, and it's moving in slow motion, and it was just like, in my head, I could hear it screaming, "You just stabbed me with a pencil." And all this foam and crap started coming out, and like this thing was bigger than my thumb. Like it was gigantic. It was a banana slug. For whatever reason, I wasn't prepared for it. I almost threw up in my mouth. And I literally played the man card, and I went and made my wife take care of it.
There you go.
So, because I was being such a man at the time, and I was like, I just stabbed it, and I can't, and then she just went out there and pulled it out, and threw it out into the thing, and I'm like, I'm so sorry, I just stabbed you with a pencil.
She's brave. When I lived in Seattle, the slugs are so common there. If it rains, there's slugs. And man, they get big. They get big. As a kid, I like in my brain, I'm like, okay, but how big were they? As a kid, they were very big.
Yeah. So your whole forearm.
Yeah, could be. If when I'm a kid. Okay, so let's just here's what's interesting. Did you know that the human's large intestine is the same size as the cow's? 5 feet, about 5 feet.
I've often been referred to as a cow, so it makes sense.
Yeah. It's also interesting that cows only have one small intestine, one large intestine, but 4 stomachs.
Sometimes I feel like I have 4 stomachs.
Yeah.
But, because every pizza is a personal pizza if you try hard enough and believe in yourself.
I recently jumped on the bandwagon trying terzepatide injections. And yesterday I just about found my stomach because some people just are like, when they start, they just throw up a bunch.
That's how you lose weight.
Yeah, that's how it's like a bulimia shot.
It's forced bulimia.
Yeah.
Ugh.
The small intestine on the human, though, is 20 feet long. That's pretty. So 25 feet. 25 feet of intestine inside of you. If you think of it this way, my brother, who has a similar build to me, he went one time, he was just so sick of it. He's so sick of the weight gain and everything. He was talking to a doctor and he's like, what if I just got liposuction? Could we just, kind of reset the clock, start there? And she was like, well, if you don't change your behavior, it's all just going to come back anyway. But also, and then she pinches his stomach. She's like, what? She's like, also, there isn't a lot here to liposuck.
Mm-hmm.
She said, your problem is, and it's like, I'm built the same way where I have a lot of, where my fat gains is around my insides.
Mm-hmm.
So you could get a larger abdomen, a distended, if you will, abdomen, and not have a ton of pinch fat.
Mm-hmm.
So apparently terzepatide and all that's supposed to help with that a little bit. But you think about it, if you had 20 feet of something inside and then you get a little bit of inflammation, oof.
Yeah.
Oof.
You got that Crohn's disease.
Oh.
Your day's ruined.
Gah. Sure. All right, here's one that's not worm or intestine related. I thought this was kind of cool. Mount Chimborazo. Did you know that Mount Chimborazo, you would if I said, we're going to go from the tallest peak to the center of the earth, you might think, okay, we're going from Everest or K2 on a good day to the center. But no, apparently because of the way the rise of the earth around Mount Chimborazo, from the peak of Mount Chimborazo to the center of the earth is longer than any other place on Earth.
Mm-hmm.
Take a guess. Just take a guess.
11,000 feet.
You are really far off. 3,968 miles.
Oh.
That's crazy. That's a long ways.
You know what's crazy, though, is I also heard a scientist say that if you shrunk the Earth down to the size of a marble, it would feel as smooth as a glass marble.
Yeah, I've heard that. The variation between the lowest and the highest points on the Earth is so insignificant that it would feel smooth.
Yeah, if you had completely like you wouldn't be able to feel any bumps or any cracks on it. It would just look like a regular glass marble.
Yeah. Do you know Marvel or anything? Like, is there some kind of like comic book character that's that big, that's like, bigger than the Earth? Do you know any?
I think there's
fantasy.
I think there's a couple. I want to say Galactus or something like that can become that big or something, and when he's on Earth or whatever, he can shrink. I can't remember, but I think there are some that are like ginormous like that.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that you've probably seen this list before.
Well, I guess on Mars. Well, actually, if we're going, there's a planet Ego on the Guardians of the Galaxy 2. He's an entire planet. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, there is one that's as big as a planet.
All right. have you ever, I'm going to share my screen for this one. This is kind of cool. Share my screen. If you're not watching the Neverdaily podcast, first, A, what are you even doing? B, fun fact to know and share. Let me tell you something that, like, if you love us or you love your other podcasters out there in the world, on Spotify in particular, when you watch the podcast through video, the podcaster makes the regular taco, like what I like to call Taco Bell ads. You know, they're like the local ones where it's like Brett's RV down on Main Street. You know, and I don't
Or
have
it's
that
also
here.
like Bank of America, like the generic, or Subway, eat fresh.
Yeah, very generic or very hyper local location specific. So I like to say, when you watch video on Spotify, even if you're not watching the video, if you're just letting it play, so the podcaster makes ad revenue off of Taco Bell ads, which, by the way, that's pennies on the dollar. Like, you need an entire month of cranking out episodes to make any semblance of money off of that. We've had shows in the past where full month, all the research, all the writing, record, submit, blood, sweat, and tears, $46, right?
Yep.
So it's not huge, but if you watch the video for a podcast through Spotify, they make ad revenue, and they also Spotify does this weird thing where if you're watching video on Spotify, you're using your Spotify Premium account, and so you don't want to hear ads or anything. But Spotify's like, we want to be cool, and we'll dig into our pocket on our Spotify Premium revenue and give the podcaster a bit of love there. So just in case you're ever like, how can I support my favorite podcasters better, whoever they may be, if they have video on Spotify, push that play button. This is something, if you're watching, you'll be able to see this. Oh, hold on. Need to, apparently I have to allow my browser to, I switched browsers.
Which one are you on now?
I'm using Comet. So, I can't do that. No, I don't think I'm going to be able to share right now. Well, maybe. Let's see if this works. Maybe not. Share. Tell me if you can see this. Can you see that?
Yeah, that's the spaceship comparison.
Yeah, so this is the spaceships from sci-fi, the world of sci-fi, and their sizes. Let's see, off the front, can you see any that you recognize?
I see some of like the Ultra Star Destroyers or whatever from Star Wars up at the top.
Up at the top.
Yeah.
So if I zoom in, you talking these guys?
Yeah, there's a couple of the Star Destroyers from Star Wars, the specialty ones.
Ooh, those are cool.
Those are the ones I recognize the most.
This is a really interesting map because you get a really cool idea of how big some of these things are. And when you're watching the show or you're into any of these kind of shows, you don't really know. You'd need to really nerd out and get into the specifics of the show in order to, get to the backstories or the online stuff. The other thing, the one thing about this list that's kind of weird is I can't figure out, because, okay, so let's see, I wanted this giant, so if we zoom out, what's the biggest one on the map? Is it that dome?
It's either the dome or that white one. It's
From
kinda in
left
the
to
middle.
right, I think it looks like this dome, this big giant dome one. If I click in, that is the black hole, the USS Cygnus. 2,575 meters approximate. I like that. They say approximate because it's a fake ship anyway.
Yeah.
But they say approximate. That's fun.
Oh, some of those other
this
big
one-
ones are Warhammer ships, so it's from
Yes.
all over.
Yeah. This one looks like an animal. It's from
Probably-
StarCraft.
It probably
It's
is a hollowed out animal.
Oh, yeah, it is. The Zerg. Leviathan, 10,940 meters. I know very few of the ships on this map. One that I do know that I remember from, I always liked the name, and I liked I liked how it showed up it looked creepy. Here it is. Whoa, what happened?
You zoomed out.
Oh, I'm using my zoomer. Zoom out. Zoom in. Where'd it go? Right here. Zoom in. Go over. It's the Borg.
Yeah, the Borg
Collective
cube.
Assimilation Cube.
Yep.
Oh, there's more than one, though. There's the Borg Collective Tactical Cube, which is... there's 3, 4. There's a bunch. There's a bunch of Borgs. Who knew? There's spheres. Borg sphere. Those are from Star Trek. Okay, that's really nerdy and boring.
Yeah.
So I'll stop sharing my screen on that. That's kind of fun, though.
Yeah,
I don't know if you've ever seen that map. You can buy that map from places. Let's to kick things off so I don't forget about it.
Yeah.
Let's do new music Tuesdays on Thursdays. Music Tuesdays on Thursday.
Music Thursdays of Tuesdays on the Thursday.
From whence it crawled on the Tuesday,
Yes.
to thence upon its summit, where it alighted on Thursday.
See.
All right. So, what'd you bring today, Chase?
So I brought a cover. I'm sure if you were alive at any point in the late 90s, early 2000s, 90s, 2000 area, you've heard this song. It's Jumper. I'm sure everyone's heard Jumper, but this is a cover by a band called Bedlight for Blue Eyes. He sings like an angel. He honestly sounds like he could have sang like professional opera. And I don't know, maybe he did. I have no idea. But he just has a very strong, clear, powerful voice. It's just a beautiful version of the song. And I just really like it. I like to try to... It's like a song that you like to try to sing in the shower, but you just can't. But you do it anyways when no one's around.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what this song is. Just a beautiful rendition of a very popular song.
Fun fact, if Chase beats me into the studio, online studio here, and then I come in, sneak in, it doesn't make any kind of like boop, like so-and-so's joined or anything like that. Sometimes I'll come in and Chase doesn't have our studio screen up and he's singing to himself. My life is the dark envelope in your heart.
Mm-hmm.
It's awesome. I like those moments. All right. Here is Jumper by Bedlight for Blue Eyes?
Bedlight for Blue Eyes.
Okay. Here we go, Jumper.
That was Jumper by Bedlight for Blue Eyes.
It's really good. I really like that. There at the end, the percussion soloist really got some tambourine in there. It's like, you know that tambourinist was like at the end of the song, and it's like tick, 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 tick. And it's just like everybody else on the stage has walked off, and they're just sitting there, and it's kind of that U2 rattle and hum, single light, kind of right on them, and the crowd's just going crazy, and they're like, and in the quiet, because they're not even mic'd, because they're just a tambourinist. They're just sitting there, and single tear rolls down their cheek, and they're like, look at me now, Grandma. Look at me now.
I did it. Yeah, I like that guy. You can tell that he can hit all the notes and maintain the power, which is hard for some people to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like some people, they lose power as they hit, higher, lower notes. But if you listen to some of their other music too, he can just belt all of it. He just can push it. So be honest. Have you ever tried to crank that song out vocally in the shower? All the time.
Okay.
I fail, but I try.
Yeah, you try, and that's all that matters. I'll bet your doctor would probably be pretty proud of you, because when you try to hit those high notes, your nuts probably just sink right up in, like, you're like, look at me now, doctor.
And then I gotta spit blood, be like, I did it. Through all the blood, sweat, and tears, I did it.
I did it, Doctor Grandma. Look at me now.
What'd you bring?
I brought. Okay, so sometimes there are bands where it kind of goes in one ear and out the other. You've heard them a million times, and like if I said, Pantera, right, and you'd nod and you'd be like, yeah.
Well, I'd nod like this.
Yeah. Okay. Are you like? Have you ever listened to enough Pantera to identify a Pantera song though?
Not really. I've only heard like their bigger stuff, that just gets played. I haven't actually sat down and listened to like an entire Pantera album.
Yeah, exactly. Or Gwar. Their
I've
bands.
seen Gwar live.
Okay.
And it was nuts.
Dude,
it was insane.
They're ridiculous. They're the only band where when they come out, it probably smells like a rubber factory because of the amount of costume that they have on. And it's not just normal costumes. They're like, seriously, like one will come out as a rock monster,
or like a goblin, that's like twice as big as a normal human. Yeah, I was at Warped Tour one year, and they were headlining. They were one of the headliners. So like, I didn't go to a Gwar concert specifically. Right. Like, I just happened to be at a Gwar concert.
Yeah. As the concert proceeds and things get warmer, there's more rubber smell.
Yes.
It's like that spirit gum is really earning its keep.
And the cool thing, they make all their own stuff. You know that, right?
Do they?
Yeah, they make all their own costumes. Like, there's one dude who did a lot of like practical effects or something experience, and so he does, like, one of their members makes most of their stuff for him.
Oh wow. Yeah, those kind of things. I love little band facts.
Mm-hmm.
Bad Religion, the majority of the band are like professors, or whatever. It's like little things like that.
Like one of the dudes from Led Zeppelin has like 2 doctorates.
Oh, really?
They're
really?
Like, I think it's either Led Zeppelin or another one of those same bands from the same time, like one of the big, huge bands, where he has like 2 doctorates, and one's like in physics or something. Like, it's not even like music. It's literally like it's like in a scientific field. Like, he's actually like an actual genius, but he's just known for being, in Led Zeppelin.
It's wild. Like, the band I brought today has a guitarist named Adam Jones, and Adam Jones has professional practical effects experience.
Mm-hmm.
And so their music videos are like Adam Jones, art, it's crazy. Anyway, so the band I brought today is it might be like that for some people. You've all heard the band Tool,
mm-hmm.
but it might be one of those bands where you just know, you're like, yeah, I know the band, but you've never heard a Tool song. One reason you might not have ever heard a Tool song is they are not a big radio band. Like,
mm-hmm.
they didn't gain their success off radio because their songs are 9 minutes long.
Yeah. And
they're face melters, a little bit of, maybe a little obscure, not like Fish, like we were talking about yesterday, not like, super obscure, but still one of those bands. So I went into my heart, mind, spirit, and I was like, I'm sitting in there and I'm like, ask yourself, what song would you share with an audience that has never heard Tool if you wanted to make the best first impression? And that song is 46 and 2. It's like, if you're a Tool aficionado, you're like, I knew it. I knew you'd pick that one. But you knew I'd pick that one because you know why I'd pick that one. It's got a little bit of all things Tool in it, and it's a great representation. So now, without further ado, here's 46 and 2 by Tool. I was looking down so long I didn't notice Chase was jamming out on a guitar.
I had to wait until you actually looked up and saw it.
Is that a Starcaster?
Heck yeah, it's a piece of crap Starcaster.
Those are awesome. I love Fender Starcasters.
Yeah.
Not quite as much castanets or, in that one. But that's that's a good gateway drug for Tool if you liked that. Also, like, I don't know, I can't tell you how many times I've heard that song. It's definitely in the thousands.
Mm-hmm.
I still get chills from it. Like, it just does something to my heart, mind, spirit, body. Mind, spirit.
Heart, spirit, mind
connection. Love it. Just love it.
There's actually what's the term? There's a term for that where not everyone can feel it, but music can cause a actual, like, physical reaction in your body. I think it's called like glissando or something, but it's like, it's been studied by scientists.
Really?
And some people, like, music can't really, like, the music can't cause them to feel emotions. Maybe the lyrics might, because like it storifies things. But some people can, like, when they hear certain sounds or certain music or certain progressions, like they can actually feel it triggers something in their nervous system.
Definitely triggers something in my nervous system. I just love it. I really like Tool because they all are like apex level musicians in their own right. But the band's kind of interesting. Like with a singer like that, you'd think that it'd be maybe like a Van Halen kind of scenario where like, make sure the singer's legible the whole time. But sometimes there's parts in Tool songs where it's like barely there. It's like he's on an AM radio in the back corner of your brain.
Mm-hmm.
I just really enjoy it. I posted on Discord while we were listening to that. I said, I'm currently playing a Tool song right now on the Backdoor live recording the Neverdaily pod. Maybe you're there enjoying it as well. And then I realized I accidentally posted it in Pets and More Pets.
Apex Erica got us. It's Frisson. Frisson. Frisson.
Frisson. Frisson.
Yeah, not everyone can experience frisson. You have to, maybe it's a brain thing, I don't know.
When music triggers a physical nervous system response, it is most commonly known as frisson. It is often described as musical chills, aesthetic chills, and the chat went away. So
skin orgasm.
That sounds terrible. How about I do another segment?
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Segment
this one,
me.
I could see this one becoming a podcast. The last one, how long is it? I think it's going to be fun. It's one I'll bring up every once in a while because there's a lot of long things in the world, and there's a lot of short things in the world.
And sometimes they're both like long duck dong.
Yeah. Yep. Short and long.
Yep.
This segment though, this is a banger. How long is it? A banger too. I'm not gonna kick the redheaded stepchild out of the house yet. It needs to eat. But this one, here we go. Welcome to that. Those awesome tits. Awesome tits. The segment about who knew there were so many tits in the bird world.
Mm-hmm.
Who knew?
Who knew?
I know now, and you're about to know. So let me share some information about some of the most awesome tits you've ever heard of. The first one has probably the best name of all the tits. It's the Great Tit.
Nice.
Paris Major. Which also, I'm just going to make a campaign. Paris Major sounds like there are a lot of parts of women's genitalia. Paris Major sounds like it should have been one of them. Like that just, I don't know why. We should have picked a part of the women's genitalia, said that right there, that's pretty recognizable. That
Paris is
out.
the city of love. Just kidding, it's the city of lights. So, never
Paris,
mind.
Parus.
Oh, okay.
Not Paris. You couldn't hear that in the way I said it? One is Paris, the other is Paris.
It's your Idahoan accent.
Jeez. You really are semi-legitimate. What was that thing?
Semi-illiterate. Yeah, I really am semi-illiterate.
Semi-legitimate. The Great Tit. In Hungary, researchers caught great tits. This is fun to say. In Hungary, researchers caught great tits flying into caves at night and eating hibernating bats. Not the insects. Bats. Great tits eat bats. That feels like a shirt.
Is it their fault we have the COVIDs?
No, because I'm going to go out on a limb, no pun intended, and say that the great tits could have saved us from COVID had we allowed great tits to flourish. But no, we don't. We hide them. We conceal them. We lift them. We separate them. We control them for 12 hours or 24 hours, depending on the sitch. The great tit is also known as one of the masters of mimicry. They've been documented mimicking the alarm calls of other species of birds, which they sometimes do to scare other birds away from food. That's pretty smart. That's a smart tit right there.
That's a really smart tit.
Cannibalistic tendencies, how about? Okay, occasionally, when food is scarce, they've been seen pecking at and even eating the brains of smaller birds. Yes. The adorable backyard feeder visitor has a horror movie side. The Great Tit. Let's move on to the blue tit. Cyanistes ceruleus. They've been known to be milk thieves. In England, during the 1920s through the 40s, blue tits learned how to pierce the foil caps on milk bottles left at doorsteps to drink the cream. This behavior spread across the country. Basically, it was a bird crime wave. You knew things were getting crazy in, like, let's say, the height of the 30s, 40s, World War II's going crazy, bombs dropping everywhere. You see milky tits everywhere.
Yeah. Everywhere. Couldn't turn for bumping into one.
You just, everywhere you go, it's either bomb dropping or some milk-based tit.
Yeah.
They're aerobatic nesters, which sounds like an odd
Sounds
uncle of the Addams family. They can squeeze into absurdly small holes to build their nests. Sometimes using mailboxes, drain pipes, or even old shoes that are left outside. The blue tit. Color signals. The male blue tits glow under UV light.
Mine do. They haven't seen the sun for a long time. I need to put their cage out in the sun, I guess.
Yeah. Get some sunlight on those blue tits of yours.
Yeah, my male blue tits.
I believe that's called lividity. It's a sign that you're already dead.
Oh, that happens too.
Male blue tits glow under UV light, which is invisible to humans but dazzling to female blue tits. It's like female. It's like male. It's like tit rave paint. Boots and pants and boots and pants and blue tits, blue tits. The coal tit, Paraparis ater.
Cut glass.
These ones are seed hoarders. They hide seeds all over the place, but unlike squirrels, they seem to have a near photographic memory of where they've stored them. So they'll fly, grab some seeds, take them, they'll store them somewhere, and later they can remember where they left them.
Where they left their seed.
Tiny but bold, these coal tits are, despite being one of the smallest tits. I love all of them.
Mm-hmm.
They'll mob much larger predators like owls, and they'll do it in groups. So just imagine a small tit group.
Tit mob running around?
Tit mob. Tiny tit. Itty bitty titty committee. Just mobbing some owl. Who? Owls. Basically tiny feathered tough guys. They have voice clout. They have one of the largest song repertoires among all the tits, with dozens of distinct calls for different situations. Some of them they'll have an etude that they might play. Then they'll go into a sonata. Then they'll just roll right into an areola.
Oh.
Thank you. Have a drum roll anywhere near me?
Side note, I went to school with a girl whose name was Brittany Areola, and ironically, she was the first girl in our grade to get her boobs to grow in. That was my first glimpse of irony at a young age.
That's fun.
Mm-hmm.
The marsh tit sounds like mosh pit. Poecile palustris. It's got an identity crisis. For decades, scientists confused marsh tits, maybe naturally, with willow tits. They're almost identical, but their calls and behavior are their key giveaways. The marsh tit is known to have a certain behavior where it's more like up and down in its flight pattern, and the marsh tit, did I say willow tit or the marsh tit? Willow tit's up and down. Marsh tits are more like side to side.
Hmm.
They've got a brainy survival trick, though. Marsh tits are champions of food caching, and studies show their hippocampus, which is part of their brain, the memory part of the brain, actually changes size with the seasons to help them remember their stashes. I feel like this would be a very valuable human trait.
Mm-hmm.
Like imagine this. If your wife says, "I'm fine," is she fine?
No, never.
Never.
Never in
Nope.
the history of the world.
Nope. If a girl in middle school yelled at you and maybe hit you, does that mean she doesn't like you?
That means she probably does like you a lot.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
We're talking mixed signals. But imagine if humans had this tit behavior where things changed in size based on their level of attraction. They could say whatever they want. They could hit you all they want. They could say they're fine or not fine. But we'd know.
Yeah.
We'd know. Because they're hippocampus. What were you thinking I was saying grew change size, Chase?
I was thinking about, sometimes like
Sicko.
when you used to be at someone's house hanging out, and then sometimes you'd have to sit on the couch, and hopefully they had a pillow and
Blanket.
or a blanket. Yeah, that's what I was thinking about.
No, I was talking about their hippocampus. Like, that would come very handy. Like, a girl's like, I'm fine. And you're like, come on, we're going for an MRI. And they're like, no, it's October. What?
Gladly spend $6,000 to tell if you're lying to me or not right
Exactly.
now.
Boy. The marsh tit does have a longevity surprise about it, though. While small songbirds often live just a couple years, and I didn't know that. That's kind of sad. That makes their songs extra sad.
Mm-hmm.
Banding records show some marsh tits have made it past 11 years in the wild. That makes the marsh tit a bird that lives into the double digits.
I see what you put down there. So.
A lot of this is just coming right off the top. Like a lot of those are just coming right off the top, just so you know.
They're just spilling out the top.
Now here's one where I feel like, I don't know, I feel like there's some dysphoria here, maybe. Because things are starting to get confusing. We have the long-tailed tit, which I'm like, come on, just keep it simple. You don't have to get crazy. You don't have to be all flamboyant. You're a tit. Just be a tit. Basic tit is
A long-tailed tit. They usually let their offspring nurse a little too long.
Yeah, see,
Or too long.
Yeah, they're probably those moms that are like, use your words. And then they grow up and they just, they're imbalanced. They're the most therapied kid, but also the most out of whack, which I've never been able to understand. But yes, Aegythalos saudatus, or the long-tailed tit. These birds are famous for helpers at the nest. If a pair loses their own brood, they'll pitch in to help relatives raise chicks.
Aww.
Like if they
Takes a
lose their,
village.
I kind of got emotional there for a second. Like if they lose their own kids, they'll become the best aunts and uncles.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, made my heart hurt.
They're the
a
real
little bit.
heroes.
They have ridiculous nests apparently though, which is extra sad. It's like that couple that they want kids so bad, and they build the nursery and they just they're all ready, and then something happens and they don't have a kid, and that's like the long-tailed tit. Their nests are marvels of architecture, actually. Soft domes built from moss and spider silk and thousands of feathers. They're flexible enough to expand as chicks grow. So they're really about their chicks. These tits love chicks. And
As some do.
they'll really grow the nest based on that. Also, that's a little creepy if you think about it. What if our houses had some sticks, some moss, and then to just soften up a corner, we just used fingers?
I'm not going to lie, and this isn't just me trying to be funny. Right now in my garage, there's sticks and moss in a pile.
But you live in Portland, so I believe...
Well, my wife uses them for planting stuff, like potting house plants. But yeah, so apparently we're just a bunch of tits around here too.
You got sticks. Let me go out on a limb. Is it sphagnum moss?
I don't know what kind of moss it is. It's just very soft and spongy, and apparently holds water well for certain plants that need it. I don't know about plants.
Is it in a bag, or did she source this locally on a beach?
It was in a bag. The sticks are sourced locally. They're driftwood from a beach. You got that one right, but the moss was from a bag.
Well, I might still be right. We can't prove it because you're not in your garage and you refuse to go down and check.
Yep.
But it could be sphagnum moss.
Could be.
Long-tailed tits have weaponized cuteness with their round bodies and tiny little beaks.
Aww.
They look like flying cotton balls. Bird watchers in Japan even call them Snow fairies. Or in Japanese, Xiongfu-de.
Close enough. Now, my wife's uncle, he's a bird counter, an official bird counter for the U.S. government.
Really?
It's a voluntary position, but him and his friends, they're all retired. They literally go out with their binoculars and their notebooks, and they literally count birds. And then they use those birds they have a special math program they run it through, and that's how they track population of bird sizes in certain areas.
Interesting.
So they'll count how many of those birds they see in, this, square mile, and then they have a thing that says, okay, now multiply it by this for this many square miles, blah, blah, blah. And then they hand those numbers in to the federal government, who then uses it in some of their research stuff. But that's what he literally does that, him and his friends as retired. You can do that, people. You can volunteer to be a bird counter for the United States of America.
That's great. There are some things that are sort of tropes of a sort where, old people, when they get older and maybe they retire, it is one of those things, like becoming a bird watcher. It becomes a thing. And I'm curious about that. I'm like, I wonder what it is about, the later years in life when you don't have to work anymore and you get to retire. Why bird watching? Why is that? And then it also makes me think that it has to be colloquial. It has to be like to our to our kind of our brand of society. Like, I wonder if you went over to, like, mid Africa, and when they get old, like what's their thing? They're like, oh, everyone becomes this, or everyone starts doing this.
My wife's parents will literally, if we go to their house, they'll tell us all the types of birds they saw in their backyard during the last week. Like, that's one of their first things they'll tell us. We saw this many blue jays and this many robins, and we had this many birds show. And I'm just like, oh, okay, that's fun.
Now, This is something that I have not shared a lot. And everybody knows I'm all about a coin fact. I'm getting chills right now, and I don't know what that is. When I think about birds, when I think about ducks in particular, I get so excited. I'm not even lying. I get so excited. I've shared stories before in random places. I don't know if I've ever done it behind the mic. But my years from like 6, 7, 8, I carved wood ducks with Mr. Morgan in my neighborhood. Like, it was a massively poignant, like, vivid part of my youth. I love them. I love going to parks. I hate parks. I think that might be an ADHD thing or an ADD thing. When I go to a park, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do with my hands. I want to just take a nap, but most of the time when I'm at a park, I'm there with people who want to, like, engage and do activities. And I'm like, I don't want to do any of that. Put your Frisbee away. Put down the blanket. And let me take a nap. But then I also lay down on the blanket and I look up into the sky, and instantly my eyes go because they're trying to focus on blue sky, and that's impossible, and my eyes want to pop out of my head, and it's not anyway. But one thing I love about parks are ducks, because when you see a group of ducks, man, ducks don't always do ducks of a feather thing. Like, there could be a mix-up, and you're going to get some weird duck in the group. And it's not just like
ugly duckling.
It could be an ugly duckling, but it could also be another genus. Nope. Another what?
Genus.
Close. Another one of the duck breeds. Like, around here, you're going to see mallards. Mallards are everywhere. And like all duck species, usually the males are all colorful and they're like ready for the rave, and then the lady ducks are kind of more natural colors so they can blend in, because they have to like do the egg thing and all hiding and all that. But boy, I just love it. I'll see a big old group of ducks. I should know my duck terminology, but it's not gaggle. Thing of ducks.
Group of ducks. It can be called many things, including a flock, a raft, a paddling, a brace, or a skein.
I'm going to go with paddling, because skein is already taken up in my head for yarn. And now I know you're all going to be like, it's skein. And I'm like, yeah, I know, but it's close enough that I'm not going to use it for ducks, people. So I'm going with paddling. So I'll see a paddling of ducks, and I'll be like, oh my gosh, those are all mallards except for that one right there. Bean Bean, look, it's a hooded merganser. She'll be like, what? And then I'll have to take a picture, and I'll pinch zoom, show her the difference between the ducks.
The
It's fun.
duckses.
Anyway, that's the segment Awesome Tits. What? You want to hear the theme song again? Fine. Yeah. Fade out that beautiful theme song. Ooh. That one doesn't get much, but I still love it.
So
Chase, what did you bring today?
today I brought something. We're going to talk about killing seniors.
Okay.
And I know yes, it is what it sounds like, and also not what it sounds like. And you'll see as I go along. So we're gonna do a little true crime today, little true crimey crimes, and this isn't your typical family barbecue stories. These are a little darker. We're talking about seniors and some wild, unbelievable things that they've gotten themselves into. And it's not like knitting or bingo or yelling at people to get off their lawn or counting birds. This is the darker side of being an old, wrinkly person. First up, we're going to St. Petersburg, and not the one in Florida. We're going to the Russian one, because, if there's one place in this world that's crazier in Florida, it's probably going to be Russia. So police arrest a 68-year-old woman named Tamara Samsonova. And I'm not one to judge, but they're suspecting her of multiple murders and even some cannibalism, maybe, possibly. And you heard that right. But security footage showed her lugging these big plastic bags out of her apartment building in the middle of the night one night. And it's like 3 a.m. Most people are asleep, and she's just lugging these heavy trash bags around. And someone went and looked at those trash bags, and inside they find the headless torso of a 79-year-old woman named Valentina Ulanova, and she was also wrapped up in a shower curtain, which is, you've probably heard that before.
Yeah.
So apparently Samsonova was living with Ulanova, very similar last names, no relation. She was taking care of her, and she was helping take care of her. She's getting older. And as investigators looked into this one death, they found out that this lady was being sketchy for a while, and her husband at one point had just randomly disappeared, and nobody knows what happened to him. Just like poof, disappeared. So he probably ended up in a dumpster too. So when they searched her apartment, they found a bloody hacksaw, they found books on black magic, which is a hobby, I guess, and a diary written in Russian, German, and English. She was trilingual. Smart lady. So in the diary, it describes her drugging multiple victims with sleeping pills before hacking them apart. So she actually wrote down what she did.
Oh.
Because that's the smart thing to do.
Yeah, don't do that.
And there's also notes that she might have ate people, because she said she really liked how lungs tasted. Like, of all things, she really liked the lungs. I don't know, that just seems oddly specific. And in court, she was literally blowing kisses to the reporters like she was at a meet and greet. Like, she was just living it up, her 15 minutes of fame. And her defense was that she was haunted by a maniac upstairs who forced her to kill people. That was her legal defense.
Oh.
In 2017, this didn't happen too long ago, a court in St. Petersburg ordered her to compulsory psychiatric treatment. And, that was it.
Okay.
So, you kill people and they're just like, you need to go to therapy for doing murders.
Sad.
So,
like, if you killed people, would you try to come up with some weird excuse for it, or would you just admit to it if you got caught?
I would hope that I would just admit to it, but I don't know. Who knows what I haven't been there, so maybe I'd panic and try to, it's not my fault, because a lot of people are just like, it's not my fault. Society made me do it, so who knows? I would hope that I never have to find out. That's my plan.
I'm
never
leaning
have to find
on
out
that.
What I'm gonna do.
These episodes that we do are more of like a character witness than anything, where I'm thinking that you know, somebody be like, no, that dude's crazy. Did you hear his latest theme song?
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, he does need help.
You're just establishing an alibi, aren't you?
Trying.
Try. It sounds good to me.
Trying
Okay.
because they're dying.
Next one, April 2015, and we're going to New Jersey. Prosecutors announced this case that shocked everybody. A 100-year-old man named Michael Juskin, not Justin, Juskin, hacked his 88-year-old wife to death with an axe. And then he killed himself. He was 100 years old.
100 years old. He hacked his wife to death?
Yeah, she was 88. He
And-
just started hitting her with an axe while she was in bed.
And then he killed himself.
And then he killed himself in the bathroom.
I'm hoping, I mean, that's horrible. I'm hoping he tried to kill himself with the axe because that would be slow and painful.
He did the wrist cuts with a knife.
Darn it.
So I mean, not super quick way to die, but not also the slowest way to die if you do it the right way. So there had been reports before of domestic issues, but prior to the axe incident, they were all nonviolent. Like it was just yelling and screaming at each other. Like that was it. They don't know why he did it. Like they don't know what the motive was, other than like occasionally they would fight with each other. But he might have been the oldest person to ever commit a murder in the history of the United States. As far as any documented cases are, he's the oldest murderer ever in the United States.
Okay.
So like, imagine you're 100 years old and you're fighting with your wife. Like, what kind of arguments do you think you're having at that point?
Probably like we're arguing about something like what is actually an actual ethnic dish versus like what just I like to eat and I like to think it's ethnic.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like Taco Bell. Is it Mexican food?
That's what you're fighting about? Is just Taco Bell's? You're fighting about if no, Betty, you did not see a red-headed tit.
Yeah,
exactly. That was a long-tail tit. We've been over this. You listen to the Neverdaily podcast, and you know what it should look like, and then they just got into this huge fight.
Yeah, you're like, that's a pintail. And they're like, no, that's not. That's a harlequin. And you're like, it's a pintail. Gosh, dang it. And I just leave them at the park.
Mm-hmm. In slow motion.
Yeah.
Because you're 100 years old. All right, next one. This one's really sad. So Nina Kravstov survived the Holocaust. Okay, so she actually, was over there in World War II. She survived concentration camps. She got out. And then when she was living in an old person's home, and she was bludgeoned to death by her 95-year-old roommate.
Wow, these are old people.
Yeah, that's why we're called killing seniors. So she was beaten to death. The lady had broken off a piece of her own wheelchair and then beat her roommate to death with it. And then she was found trying to clean up the scene. She was literally washing. It was the footrest from her wheelchair.
Mm-hmm.
She was trying to wash the blood off of it. And a nurse's aide just walked in and saw what happened. And her defense was that she had dementia and she didn't know what she was doing. But then the prosecutor's like, then if you didn't know what you're doing, why were you trying to clean up and hide it?
Oh.
And so that's where it just became a whole debate of, like, because she had diagnosed dementia, but, sometimes dementia can come and go. So, like, why was she trying to hide it? Maybe she had woke up and saw blood and was just cleaning it. Who knows? And that's the hard part, is you don't know.
Yeah.
There's no way to prove it either way. Like, it's just, you ever witness an old person just lose their mind?
Well, I've covered a lot of them. I mean, I've covered a handful of them. I've covered a few. I've covered like 2.
A handful of 2.
Yeah.
One for each hand.
Yeah.
You ever, like, anyone though, just, like, completely just lose it over something, and it was probably just because they're getting old and...
Not in my family, not really. Like, there's been a couple instances, like my aunt had a tendency to marry really bad dudes, like really terrible dudes. And I remember I was in my 20s and my mom called me over. She's like, I think your dad might need some help with this one. And I went over and my aunt was there hiding in the house. and her husband had shown up right as I had gotten there, and he was former military, but not the highest IQ, I'd say is a good way to put it. And I showed up just as he showed up, and I kept him outside for a while and just talked to him and tried to kind of reason with him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really remember how it went. I was 20, so I'm guessing he probably felt like I was on his level. I don't remember how it went, but I know he didn't go inside. He left.
Mm-hmm.
So
Hey, you did your job. You did it.
Bodged a dullet there.
I used to work with a guy who was, he lived next door to his in-laws, and then next door to them was his in-laws' in-laws, and so it was his wife's grandpa, and he had dementia, and he was losing it, and one day, just out of nowhere, he just, his in-laws, not the oldest people, they had a little, yappy dog, and one day Grandpa just had enough of the yapping, and he literally picked it up and punted it across the lawn.
Oh.
And so, right in front of my friend, and he was just so then he just called him the dog killer, even though the dog didn't die, it had a broken rib, and then I think it dislocated a hip or something.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, just and he didn't, nothing, he just picked up the dog and just drop kicked it across the yard and then walked away, and everyone's just like, what? Because he wasn't a violent person, right? And that's just a weird thing to do. So it's just sometimes when your mind's going, you just do stuff that you wouldn't normally have ever done, ever.
Yep, that's true.
So we have our next one here is 1989, a little bit older, almost as old as I am. So August 20th in Missouri, United States of America. Police get a tip about human bones on the property of Ray Copeland, who's 75, and he lives on the property with his wife, Faye, who's 68. They find 4 victims in shallow graves in a barn, and a 5th one weighted with chains at the bottom of a 30-foot well.
Oof.
Each one were farmhands who had worked for them at one point, and they all had been shot in the back of the head with a .22 caliber pistol.
Okay.
Execution style. Then they find a ledger in the home with all of the workers' names, and there's more names, 12 in total, and they all have X's through them. So they wonder if that's their list. And then they find a quilt made with one of the victims' clothing. So Faye had literally taken this dude's extra clothes and then turned them into a quilt after they killed him. That's double cold, man. And so, you're turning literal tragedy into your home decor. That's just really strange. So Ray, the guy, he had been running livestock scams for a while. He'd basically buy livestock, write bad checks, and then, resell the livestock before he got caught.
Okay.
So he got banned from all the auctions, all the livestock auctions. So he would sometimes send his farm hands in for him to do the same scam. And when they realized it, because he would just be like, oh yeah, you're going to go in my place. He wouldn't tell them that he didn't have the money, right? He would set up this fake bank account, give them a check and everything in their name. He didn't tell them that he'd set up the bank accounts in their name. He would steal their identities. And then when they figured out, hey, the bank just called me and I never set up this account, that's when he would kill him. So when they found out his little grift, he would then just kill them and find the next guy to do it. So this was literally all over him basically stealing cattle. So, yeah. They were I think they arrested him for the murders of the people that were there because they couldn't prove the other ones because they didn't have any evidence. So you ever work at a really shady job where people were doing illegally stuff?
Shady.
Yeah. You ever find out you were at a job where, your boss is doing illegal crap?
Well, I got fired from HP for hacking.
For hacking that they applauded you for?
Yeah, that was the weird part. My manager was like, can you get a hold of software? Because HP won't buy our support team licenses fast enough. And I'm like, you bet. And I did it. And I took a bath for the whole org. Well, I guess I had for a very small moment, not too long ago, actually. This was probably 2016, I'd say, 2016, 2017, in a see a need, fill a need moment in my life. I was talking to my neighbor who was 2 doors down. Great band, by the way. 3 doors. But anyway, 2 doors down, and he had an RV, and he was like really into RVs. I had a big giant diesel pusher, and I didn't have, obviously, I didn't have an RV. I was talking to him, and he was like, what's crazy is you can go in and you buy an RV, and you could be 85, and as long as you have a driver's license, they'll like walk you through and show you how to not start a fire, and then hand you the keys. I'm like, that's crazy. That's like a CDL size vehicle, and they literally just, there's like a bare minimum of training that they feel like they should. I don't even know if they need to. They just sort of do, maybe just so you don't return it right away. And he's like, for example, like I bought this RV and I'm coming through the neighborhood and I'm like, oh my gosh, my RV is taller than the trees in the neighborhood that are like hitting when he's just driving down the road, He's like, there's so many things you don't know. And I'm my marketing brain, I'm like, beep, boop, boop. And we're talking and we're like, we should start a training company with training videos, like online videos. We can do like on-site support and everything. And we'll sell it to RV companies and they just roll it into the loan price of the RV. So we charge, $5,500 or whatever, some crazy amount. And the 85-year-old doesn't care at all because it's like, just, okay, yeah, that sounds great. Oh, there's no other option except for this training? Okay, cool. So we started the company. It was doing well. It's doing really well. And he had just come back from a trip to New York to pitch it to some like New York RV dealerships. And then he got arrested for molestation.
Ugh.
And now he's in prison for, I hope, the rest of his life.
Yeah.
So that's...
One of my friends used to work for this company called All Connect. And basically what they did was they subcontracted out like customer service for bigger companies. So like if you had a problem with AT&T, you called, and my friend who didn't work for AT&T would be your customer service rep, and they would literally tell them to basically, without actually saying it, that it was basically, hey, you need to give whoever you're talking to the runaround until they basically get frustrated and hang up. Like that was customer service. And it was, AT&T knew about it, and they're just like, oh yeah, that's what we want. Just give. And so like my friend was like, I'm never going to get a phone through AT&T for any reason, because yeah, he's like, my job was just to basically go, oh, that sucks. Well, there's nothing we can do about it. Have a nice day.
Yeah, Verizon's that way. All of their online, through the app, if you go through the app for tech support or anything, you'll get on a chat real quick. It is not tech support. They are trying to sell you something now, and it's ridiculous. It's a racket. If you don't use the app and you go through phone support, you get a completely different support wing. They're also trying to sell you something. And then if you're so fed up with it, you try calling your local Verizon. Oh, good luck. Verizon local doesn't have phone numbers. You can't call. In the biggest irony of all, you cannot call your own Verizon dealer in town. You have to drive there, and you go in, and they'll tell you, they'll be like, yeah, we have no affiliate. We can't, there's no visceral connection between app support, phone support, or us helping you here in the store. Unbelievable.
Yep, you just have to, they basically say, deal with it.
So stupid.
And if you try to go to any other phone carrier, it's the exact same thing.
Yeah, there's no good. Oh, and then the thing that makes me really mad is, like, I've been a Verizon customer for, 20 years, more maybe. And every time they upgrade me, I lose features.
Yeah. And it's more expensive.
But they
try to tell you it's better for you.
Yeah. I had hotspots on all of my devices, all of my cellular devices, right? They upgrade us in this latest nightmare that I'm still dealing with. Months in March was when this whole started. Months later, I'm still dealing with problems with the subscription deal that they gave us. And we lost hotspots on all, and they're like, oh, now it's $10 a phone. I'm like, are you kidding me? It's like crazy.
And you're lucky that it's only $10.
Yeah, they do. They gaslight you. They make you feel like you're lucky that it could be worse. And I'm like, is this the deal you give new people? Because that's terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway.
Yep. Okay, let's do one more.
Okay.
So, July 5th, 2025, this is very recent. Police show up at Leisure World. Now, when you hear Leisure World, what do you think of?
Well, I'd love to believe it's just cots as far as the eye can see and masseuses. Massai.
Yes, it is a retirement facility. Like, it sounds like they're trying to make like a very comfortable version of Disney World, but it's just an old folks home. So police show up thinking that it's just like a medical call, emergency call. Like, they weren't told what it is. It's just like, hey, we need someone to go there right now. And so they showed up. And they find 78-year-old Beverly Fletcher, no relation to the Murder, She Wrote lady, Jessica Fletcher. They found her dead from multiple stab wounds and blunt force trauma. There was a hammer across her throat. There was also a knife and a screwdriver, and they were all covered in blood. Her husband, and this is, I said husband, his name is Vivian. Apparently that's a man's name too. Vivian. He immediately waives his Miranda rights and admits to getting in a fight with his wife and then murdering her.
Oh.
He did not even try to hide it. He just said, yep, that was me. I did it. And his previous criminal record, in 1999, 26 years ago, he was cited for having an open container in public. So he had a beer. And then in 2009, he had a DWI. That's his entire record.
Okay. Not much.
Yeah, so like he has no history of violent anything. He had no reports against him at the nursing home he lived at with his wife. Just like totally normal dude. And they think that it was strokes because he'd been having many strokes.
Really? So
Yep.
they think that he had kind of a criminal stroke.
Yeah.
Criminals.
Yeah, so they think that like a stroke basically has changed his personality, which that can happen. My dad's mom, she had a bunch of mini strokes and she was acting kind of weird towards the end. And she wasn't telling anyone she was having strokes because she was just the kind of lady who's just like, well, I'm still alive, so I'm not even going to go tell the doctor about this. I'm just going to keep on keeping on. And so like she was acting kind of weird towards the end, and because strokes were literally changing the way her brain was processing information. So they think that, he just had a stroke and had a little episode and couldn't contain his frustration, and it just blossomed into physical violence. So, careful. Old people can just change. You never know. I mean, dementia can make people mean. Strokes can change people's personality. Your brain's a very fickle thing. A very strange little creature that lives inside your skull.
Sad. Scary.
So
sad and scary.
Yep. So glad I brought down the whole mood. You're welcome, everyone.
Ba-da-ba-da. Marissa posted in Pets and More Pets on Discord. She was listening to my Tool song live while she's in her car with Gabby Girl, her dog, and half of her dog's peeking out behind the front seat. And then she also posted a picture of her duck Cinco.
Oh,
yeah. And I said they both have similar colorings, and they do. And you don't know that because you're not in Discord.
When we used, I had a job once where we had some pet ducks, some ducklings that we had to take care of because their mother. I didn't know raccoons killed ducks and ate them, but they do. And so yeah, we had a duck. It was at the poop plant. There was a duck who would the manager would feed her all the time, so she kind of hung around, just one duck. Mm-hmm. And so she actually laid her eggs, right close to the door of the building. So then her eggs had just hatched recently, and the guy showed up one morning, and his little duck friend had been killed by a raccoon. And so we took the ducks in, and we had them in the building for, about a week. And we were just feeding them, and their feet are so soft. Like, their little feet are so soft when they're little ducklings.
Yeah.
And then, we can't keep them here because stuff, probably not a good thing if we got in an audit and we have pet ducks in the building. So luckily the city manager, his wife, is a bird lady. His words, not mine. She's a bird lady, so she's like, I'll take him. I'll raise him. And so, yeah, she took all the little ducklings and she raised them up until they could fly, and they went on their little ways. Once they hit their little leaving times, they just flew off and went off and became adult ducks somewhere.
I'm glad to hear that. I like those. I don't know what's wrong with me. My heart's become too soft. I watch all those. I watch videos where it's like, pet brings home friend, and it's like, I watched one where a dog found a lone baby bear cub, brought it home, biting its.
Sorry, I didn't get that.
Yeah,
The internet
because
is
I wasn't
reachable.
talking to you, Alexis. Shut your mouth. Gosh, freaking Alexis talking to me. I gotta talk real quiet, otherwise she hears me. Holding on the scruff of the bear's neck, drops it on the front porch.
Did you see the lab that brought home a cow calf?
Yeah, open the door and the lady's like, "Oh no,
Yeah,
no." That's fun. Or there's one where the dog came through the doggy door and a little cow came through after him. I was like, that's A, that's cute, and B, that is a really little cow. But it made it through. I don't know how.
Did you see the one where some dudes, he had one of those, what are these, the Burmese shepherd dogs, had found a little kid, and it was just like, he literally opens his door one morning and he has this dog, and it's an actual guard dog, like cat, like it protects his, his animals from coyotes and stuff. And he said he opened it up and it was just walking up his long driveway, and a little kid was just right behind it.
Oh.
And the dog walked a little kid right up to the front door. Turns out that little kid had been missing. He went missing the night before.
Oh.
And the dog had found him, and then he literally kept the kid safe and warm. Like, the dog curled up around the kid, kept him warm through the night, and then literally walked the kid back to the house. Like, hey, look, I found a kid. Here you go. I found him. And so, yeah, it's a cool story. You can Google it. It's a fun little heartwarming story. And, the parents of the child were very much grateful to the dog for taking
amazing.
care of. He was the goodest boy, Marissa. The goodest of boys.
The goodest of all the good boys.
Yep.
There's another video. It's kind of funny. It's the title is like, buy a Malinois, they said. And a Malinois is like, if a German Shepherd and a rocket had a baby.
Yeah. Do you know what they call them in the military?
What?
Meat missiles.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what they call them. Is literally, they call 'em meat missiles.
Their video, lady opens the dog door to put the dog in the kennel. Kennel's got 8-foot walls, and it's just in, up, over.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would wear me out.
Have you seen the training videos where they teach them how to jump into cars, and they go in at 100 miles an hour, and they jump, and then they fold up, and then just boom, and just hit whoever's inside. And that's where they got their meat missile name from, because they'll literally jump right through the window at Mach break your neck, and just destroy what's ever inside the car.
It's like that kid in second grade we all knew that had hyperactive disorder,
Mm-hmm.
and when he wasn't bothering some other kid, he's whacking his head on the wall going, ha, see, ha, ha, see, doesn't hurt.
Yep. Look what I can do. Bonk, 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 bonk.
Yeah, and now his job is shining the rivets on every bench in the park. That's his job.
And he does it with gusto.
He's proud to do, but he sprints between benches. Yeah. Off to another bench.
There was a kid I went to high school with, very much on the spectrum, but he would literally sprint between classes and then hold the doors open for everyone.
Really?
But yeah, his name was Raymond, and he would literally, as soon as the bell rang, he was up, and he would literally sprint to his next class. Not jog, sprint. And then he would stand there and hold the door open for everyone to come into the classroom.
That's the kind of kid, if I had that kid, I'd be so proud, that they had that much energy and zest for life. But the moment they came home from school, I'd be like, here's your ludes. Take your salvia before you can watch Nickelodeon.
Yeah. Here's your downers. so you can act normal.
Oh, man. I brung something today.
Bring it.
Okay. This was a headline, caught my attention, and I was like, the what? Scientists discover human brains experience memories from 5 seconds in the future. Yeah, let's get into this. Back in the mid-20th century, so researchers were already fascinated by how perception always lined up with reality in most cases. Just kidding. It doesn't. Right?
Yeah.
So a German physiologist named Benjamin Libet. It's German, so I don't know. Did they say Libet or Libet if they're German?
Probably Libet because they're German and they always have hard enunciations.
Yeah, if Germans were a drum set, they'd be every drum set.
Yeah.
Okay, Benjamin Libet became famous in the 1970s and the 80s for experiments showing that your brain begins preparing for a movement a fraction of a second before you consciously decide to do it. Basically, your brain cheats at like rock, paper, scissors because it knows what you're going to do before you do it. So that kind of cracked open the door for this idea that consciousness might not be this, the master controller that we think it is. But this kind of 5 seconds in the future thing, that jumped from quirky lab experiment to, wait, are we actually psychic kind of territory? So in the late 20th century, fringe labs, that's not a lab. That would be an awesome name for a lab, though. Probably hard to get funding if your name's Fringe Labs, but maybe not. Also, you'd get those phone calls at 2 a.m. from a dark phone, and they're like, we have 2 trillion we'd like to put into your lab. And you're like, who are you? And you're like, doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
But, the late 20th century, so we're in the late 1900s, for those of you that can't do centuries, Fringe Labs started running pre-sentiment experiments, basically strapping volunteers to heart rate monitors and skin conductance machines and just whirring up the idea cycles and seeing what came out. They would put them in front of flashing random images on a screen. So some of the images were calm, like a bunny in a meadow or a dog bringing home a cow, something like that. Some were terrifying, like a car crash where a person's face goes right through the dash, or a snake would just show up. But what freaked scientists out was that sometimes the subjects' bodies reacted a second or two before the scary images even appeared. So the brain and the nervous system seemed to know it was coming before the computer even selected the file. So skeptics kind of chalked this up to like bad statistics or some sloppy randomization or making fun of the fact that it was some fringe lab, right? But believers said, well, maybe our brains cheat at time. Like, they were like, we understand time about as well as we understand things that are really hard to understand.
Yeah, well, it's like they always say time is a construct. Like we're doing our best to try to put a definition to something that we don't understand.
And I'll tell you this, that time is a construct is not a good answer. That doesn't mean anything. That's like saying my house is a box.
No, it's just saying that time is something that we just try to define and we have no idea what we're actually defining.
Oh, okay. So
like
you're saying
we've made up, like we're just making up our best guess about what time is. You know what I mean?
So better yet then, not my house is a box, but when someone says, tell me about your house, I just go, yep.
It's there. It's a thing.
Okay. That's terrible. Fast forward to
That's how much we understand.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's true. This we're making discoveries all the time. This is definitely one of those areas where I'm glad that there's probably a healthy dose of humility within the physiology, psychology, brain science, neuroscience community. Like, there's not a lot of times where these scientists show up on a cruise carrier somewhere with a big "we did it" sign behind them. It's like
Yeah.
always changing.
Hmm.
I kind of like that. But fast forward to the 2000s and the 2010s, when functional MRI, or fMRI, which is probably what a lot of people say, like when they accidentally forget their keys in their pocket when they walk in.
It's also what people say when they get their MRI bill.
That's true. Yeah. And a small slice of people say when they're in an MRI,
Mm-hmm.
because that is one tight hole.
Ba-dum.
But when functional MRI machines got good enough to track blood flow in the brain in real time. So I actually experienced this. I got an fMRI when I broke my neck in 2012, and it was crazy. I might have talked about this before, but I went in. They were like, "What we're going to do is we're going to put you in the machine, and then we're going to inject iodine into your bloodstream."
Mm-hmm.
And your body doesn't know what to do with iodine, so it dumps it directly just into your bladder after it makes its round, and it'll feel like you wet your pants. And they weren't kidding. It felt exactly like I just soiled the MRI. I didn't, but wow, like a big old honking, like Exxon Valdez sized tanker of iodine they shoved through my vein in my arm, and my body just went ba-da, bump, and into my bladder. So I've seen this actually happen because the blood, because of the attributes of iodine, the MRI can see the iodine in your blood. So they throw it in, and you can track the blood flow, and you can do this in real time. So there were a few labs that noticed that something was really odd when this happens. So certain brain regions, especially those tied to memory and prediction, lit up milliseconds to seconds before a stimulus arrived. So that's a little like standing on the tracks of a bullet train and flinching, and it's still in the next town, based on, like, if you're going relative speeds, because the speed at which that stimulus hits, we're talking fast. So there was this one famous experiment that happened where it took people who looked at a sequence of flashing lights or shapes, and the brain patterns for, quote, recognizing the shape sometimes appeared up to 5 seconds before the actual shape hit their eyeballs. So to scientists, this was like super confusing. To everyone else, this sounds like we're all turning into Professor X, minus the training wheels. So pretty cool, pretty wild, great for a headline. Is it really as sexy as everything's happened? Are we moving toward being psychic, or are we broken? So the less sexy explanation is this. So your brain is constantly running simulations, whether you like it or not. We talked about this a little bit on the last episode where you brought up the book that you mentioned,
Practicing
Minds, which is your brain, depending on what flavor of brain you have. Some are more rocky road than others. They're constantly running simulations, whether that's fear, anxiety, what to do next, projects, all the things. So we're running simulations all the time, relationships, emotions. Every second, your brain is predicting what will happen next, like what word you're about to read, what sound is about to hit your ear, what ball is about to fly at your face. So most of the time, it's good at this game. So it's ready when reality catches up. But you can't tell if you saw it before or just predicted it perfectly. Because, again, sort of like dreams, your brain is doing this precog act, and then the thing happens, and then your brain is also sitting there going, "Whoa, whoa, what did we just do? So like half of your brain is a super future wizard and half of your brain is like, I love watching you, brain. You think about it, it's like part of your brain like catches the ball and you're like a catatonic person, and the other half of your brain's like, that was amazing. How did I do that?
Well, I was about to say, like, there's been times when I've played like baseball or softball, and I feel like I'm moving before anything's happening. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
it feels like I'll catch the ball and be like, how? I don't know. And then by then I'm in the middle of a play, and then afterwards I'm like, man, I got really good reflexes, like really good reflexes.
Yeah. You're not alone in your heightened athletic skills. Athletes talk about this all the time. They talk about, pilots talk about this too, like being ahead of the game, like reacting to things before they happen. Like sports psychologists think this might be the same brain prediction trick, but just dialed to 11 because of their familiarity with their surroundings, whether it be a court or a Cessna or a 747, you know. Still, the timing of 5 full seconds is what keeps this finding sitting in like super weird science, because that's currently where things are logging. Like, as far as that's sort of the record that we're seeing through some of these research experiments is 5 full seconds of precognition. That's an eternity in neuroscience. That's the difference between thinking I should grab the coffee mug and already sipping it, you know. Casinos hate this research because if humans ever really learn to reliably harness it, even slot machines would technically be beatable. Fun fact to know, I learned about this new thing called card edging, which is crazy. So when a dealer is playing, you know, you're playing, like, let's say it's Baccarat or something, or I don't know, a card game, and the dealer has the cards out on the table, there are some people that have figured out that what they do when they manufacture cards is they don't just print little tiny cards on a sheet. They print big sheets of cards, potentially a whole deck on a sheet, right? And then they send them through and they get die cut and then they get assembled. Well, there are players who have memorized the patterns on the backs of the cards and identify certain brands of cards have nuances in the patterns or defects that are, it's sort of like a die strike in coin facts. You know, it's like something weird happens, but it's consistent enough that they know, okay, well, basically that die had that flaw for XYZ period of time, so they can estimate how many coins are in the wild that have, you know, a double E in E pluribus unum or something. Same thing with card decks, where these super brain gamblers can go in and read the patterns on the backs of the cards and know where an ace of clubs is, for example. Not exactly what we're talking about here, but I thought that was wild. I just learned about that the other day, and that casinos are wise enough to it now that they'll shut down a gambler who's winning based on that. Technically, they're not cheating, though.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Well, it's like counting cards isn't cheating. Like, having a good memory isn't cheating.
Yeah.
It just means you have a good memory.
Which is why, in most cases, the casino still pays out. Even after they said, yeah, thanks, but no thanks. Here's a dinner coupon, and here's your 2.7 million. Don't come back. But wow. So this idea of this kind of precog kind of messes with like courtroom testimony, because if you swear you remember something a few seconds before it happened, technically your brain might be telling the truth, you know? And especially in those scenarios where some traumatic event is occurring, they say that the brain and the mind and the body do all kinds of weird things. Like they've done studies where cameras just fixated on the face of a person, and then they produce some traumatic scene, and they watch what the face does. The eyes get wide, the pupils change. the brain patterns change and everything. So if you sync that up with kind of this whole precog thing where we're thinking potentially seconds in the future, which is a broad brush, I get, but it's got some weird notions, and makes you think, like, what could they possibly say in the future which just isn't admissible in court because of what we've learned about the brain? You know, it's like, there are some speculations that this may actually be tied to deja vu that we experience, you know, that where we feel like our brain is writing a memory of something it predicted correctly, then kind of fills in the, you know, puts it in the wrong drawer, and we pull it out later. We're like, I think I've done this before.
I think I've seen this exact thing before.
Yeah. So as of now, scientists don't claim that we're fortune tellers. The mainstream line is that our brains are excellent at prediction. They're these super cool prediction engines. So good that sometimes the prediction looks like memory. Still, the handful of experiments showing brain activity 5 seconds out of sync with time remains sort of one of the strangest little mysteries in neuroscience. They're not, nobody's trying to debunk it because the studies are legit, but they're just saying, yeah, I'm not going to hang my license on getting behind that yet. Kind of crazy.
It's just too far out there.
Got another pop-up on the screen. Blind girl joined in portrait orientation. She doesn't know. So
why is it just her?
Rotate your phone. I get them the whole time we're sitting here, though. Like,
oh, yeah, because you have the. I'm just a guest, so I don't get any of those.
You don't get them. That's right. I forgot. Anyway, well, that was fun.
It was. I liked it. I had fun times today.
We had a weird thing happen, and I don't know what it was. But 2 episodes ago, the last episode we put out, I just put one out. I put 309 out. 308. 309 got twice the views. That's saying something when you've got 300 something of a show to suddenly go twice in the listenership. I don't know what happened there. I don't know if like Ro Jogan found out about us, you know, said something on the Ro Jogan podcast or something like that.
Hey, who knows?
I don't know. Oh yeah, Marissa says, did you show a nipple or something? I might have.
Maybe.
That could have been.
You'll have to watch the video. It's available on Spotify.
Go back and reboot that beautiful bean footage and see what you see. Actually, it'd be half as many views.
Yeah.
If we did that. So anyway, what everybody listening? What, you want to hear one of the segment theme songs again? All right. Really quick in the chat, you tell me if you want to hear the How Long Is It theme song, or if you'd like to hear Awesome Tits theme song again. Just going to watch the chat for a sec. Brandy says tits.
Got a tits. One for tits.
One for tits. Evie
Two
says
for
tits.
Got a pair of tits.
Just want to see some beautiful nipple footage. I believe that's a tits. Tits. Okay, everybody wants tits. Here's Awesome Tits.
I need one more so I can do a shout out to my cousin who has 4 nipples.
Oh.
We used to call him quadrupleus nippleless.
We need one more. Okay.
To his face.
We got it. There we go. Awesome
There we
Tits. Here it is. Tell you what, as a little pitch here, I wrote that. I wrote the lyrics for that. I'm not going to go as far as say I wrote the whole song because that's not my voice. You know that. But I know how to use AI really well. If you'd like me to create an awesome song for someone in your life, hit me up on Cameo. I'm out there. The operator's out there. All right, you song.
A great song.
Great song. Doesn't even have to be about a body part either.
Nope.
But
or birds.
Anyway. Or birds. Yeah, or birds. Or long things. So anyway, all right, until next time. That'll be next week. Thanks for joining us for our Halloween special. Just kidding. We'll do one of those. We'll do one a little closer to Halloween. It'll be fun. Yes. All right. Soup, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
So, soup, let's start the show.